Hey everyone, welcome back to the Splatt Show. We're here with episode 11. We're going to be talking about ABZÜ. I think that's how
ABZÜ,
you say it.
ABZÜ.
ABZÜ. It's an underwater adventure game.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like very much explorative in the realm of. I don't know if they would be flattered by this a comparison or tired of it, but Journey definitely comes to mind. Lots of
Yep.
like cool, breathtaking landscapes and soundscapes to boot. Um,
Yep.
$20 on Steam right now. And they have a really cool deal. I love stuff like this where it's only $18.73 if you buy the deluxe edition, which comes with the banging soundtrack. So it actually costs less to get more, which I just love incentivized stuff like that. I think it's silly.
There's
But
some real
great.
bangers on there.
Yeah, so
Some
shout out.
real orchestral bangers on there.
Oh yeah, I think the longest list in the credits is the violinists. Like that's the most people on one like team of this game. There's like fucking 12 of them or
Oh,
something.
oh, okay. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So Giant Squid put this game together, and it was released a little over a year ago, August 2nd of last year. So yeah, let's get into it. Also, quick shout out before we get into it to these new overlays we've been putting together. We're working hard on it and stuff. So this is just the intro screen. But
Wow.
what if I told you that there was another screen just like this? And now you can see us talking about the game. It's all cool looking. There's colors around our faces. Oh man, you're doing it perfectly. You're doing it perfectly. All right, let's get into it. Oh, I already messed up. Boom, all fixed. All right, so yeah, first impressions. I definitely felt a little weird about this one because I was
Yeah.
playing it and I was playing it and I was like, okay, yeah, this is like really cool to just swim around underwater and like look at all the
Yeah.
crazy fish and stuff and
It's very beautiful.
yeah, like
It's
awesome color palette and everything.
the art direction is just yeah, it's very like 2017 and it's just downright beautiful.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're just it's a pleasure to look at and everything and that especially in that first those first moments like it's like landing on a different planet and you're just like speechlessly exploring and, looking at everything. But as it goes, it kind of started to drag a little bit for me and I was feeling weird about it, and that's kind of because like I felt like the game was like a little too simple for my liking, but at the same time, like that wasn't like exactly a fair criticism because I think that the simplicity also like makes it more accessible,
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
kind of
and we
what we're
yeah,
looking to explore more as we go this time is like how they handle the line between accessibility and complexity and how that like affects who's playing and for how long and things like that.
yeah. I think we both agreed that for us this wasn't the most engaging game, but that um I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. So I clocked in at like an hour and a half on this game as a whole. So it's like about the honestly movies are way fucking longer these days, but more or less the length of a movie. But yeah, it almost felt
But very,
troubling.
very, very experiential and less gamey.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, like I think if someone were sitting next to you watching you play this game, they would probably be enjoying it about as much as you were, which is not
Yeah,
necessarily a bad thing or anything. But yeah, it's got like we were saying, just an amazing soundtrack that they really used to leverage in this like exploration of like
yeah,
a crazy underwater
yeah.
world. So
I think up front, I can say that in my opinion, the core of this game is the aesthetics of it, the art direction, and and the soundtrack.
yeah, they want you to just like get your breath taken away and be speechless as you're just like looking around these massive seascapes and seeing all these uh, this aquatic life up close and like you don't have oxygen system to worry about or anything. You're just free to
Yep.
swim as much as you like and wherever you like really.
And And on that note, I think we agreed that we really do like the control scheme because it really gives like a sense of of swimming.
Yeah,
But again, felt like, to our tastes, it wasn't like leveraged in a challenging way. But
sure.
again, that's probably not the point. I mean, the point is to allow you to just flow into this world.
Yeah, so like
Um,
a criticism that we might have is, like there's like this kind of discrete combo you can do where like you can swim around
yeah,
by holding the right trigger, and then by pressing A you will do like a stroke, and they explain that to you. They call that boost. What they don't tell you about is that you can press the B button to do this sort of roll. Um, and the roll kind of is like good to like shift your motion in a certain direction quickly and things like that. Um, but that's never explicitly like explained to you. So like,
yeah,
Sam,
yeah.
you were saying you hadn't even ever realized that was a possibility, right?
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't use the roll. Didn't even know that you could do that. Um, but I did discover that combo that you mentioned, which is like there's a rhythm of while you're swimming. If you hit A, you'll do a stroke, and then as you're coming out of that, if you hit A again at the right time, you'll do like a butterfly kick, and then as you're coming out of that, if you hit A a third time, then you'll get this you'll turn your flippers will like flash gold, and you'll get this like nice boost.
It's nice.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a nice boost.
and it just feels really nice, and it captures the rhythm of swimming, I think, and it just is a really nice way to have to kind of have you explore this world.
Yeah.
It never feels like, I mean, the controls aren't really like a hindrance to the game at all, but more just like really elegant and allow you to like explore the way you want to.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we both kind of paved different trails because I never actually figured out this like rhythmic probably akin to like Mario triple jump, right? Where it's like kind of
Yeah,
good timing.
sort of. Yeah, yeah,
But what I found out, and what I found out is I accidentally got like the golden flipper boost, and I was like, oh, that was amazing. How did I do that? And what I was doing at the time was I had pressed A, and then I think I did a flip, and I pressed X a bunch while I was doing the flip. And so what I thought the boost is do a flip and press X a bunch, which X is like do this little ping thing, and that's like how you interact with stuff.
yeah,
And so I was like, okay, and then I couldn't get it to consistently happen, and then I was like, okay, maybe it's press A and then roll and then press A a bunch, and like I couldn't figure it out. And so finally I just like took a step back and I was like, oh, it's as like you are doing your first stroke from A, if you roll, then you will get the boost. But what was happening is I was just trying to swim around, and so sometimes when I would do the roll, I would have boosted right before it, and so I was like super unclear for a while, and I didn't even
yeah,
discover the golden flipper thing for like probably 30 or 40
yeah.
minutes, and then like it
And
took
none of this
another
is explained.
yeah none of
It's just
that,
kind of up to you um, to get acquainted with that.
which
And
again
uh,
circles back to like the idea of like keeping this game accessible, like that those things are there for
right,
you to discover if you are a little more savvy with games. But like if the game like had that like execution test for someone like my mom or dad, like that might be the point where they get lost, right?
yeah,
So
totally,
I would
totally.
certainly appreciate like a controls page that someone like me could delve into, and like even if
Yeah,
you just have like some little like picturesque flow charts of like how to do the different maneuvers,
yeah.
so that if I want to explore into it. But yeah, so that's definitely like the crux of kind of our
So,
time
wow,
with this game. It
yeah,
sounds like is like it's so great to do all this like extra stuff that seems to be under the hood, or like it's just it feels like it's scratching the surface in a lot of ways in terms of what the gameplay could be.
yeah,
But that's not necessarily something we can fault them for, because it does lend to like a more accessible experience.
yeah, totally. Um, why don't we talk a little bit about like the overall structure of the game and what are you doing?
Yeah. So that again comes pretty naturally, like because there isn't like a
Yeah,
whole lot to it. So you're pretty much ending up in, for the most part, kind of these gated off little quarantine sections of the ocean. and you're swimming around, and usually to progress, you can see on the screen right now, there's just little like drones following. Usually to progress, you need to like find one drone, and then they are able to break some barrier for you or something like that.
And then you just continue to the next section.
Right.
And every I guess the game is sort of divided into 4 quarters, and at each of those like breaking points, you like travel into this like mythical temple, and you like unlock some kind of
mythical
thingy.
temple tower. Yeah. So you enter like you go underwater into like what feels like a spirit plane or something like that.
Yeah.
Like very ethereal.
And you'll go over there, interact with that, and then you do that 4 times, and that kind of breaks the game into these 4 pieces.
Yeah, so typically, like how each fourth of the game works is like end up in an area, find a drone, use the drone as a key to unlock a door, go into a portal, swim to the tower. The tower is the key for the next like gate in the ocean. So it's a lot of like
kind of
just basic lock and key loops.
Yeah, it's just like kind of rinse and repeat that 4 times, and the real meat of the experience is in like the different levels and how they look, what animals are there,
there's
like the music, and there are also a few little cinematic moments that kind of split off that are also peppered throughout the game, where you kind of go on rails for a minute, and you'll be like, traveling really quickly through the ocean, like seeing all this wildlife and stuff. So there's a few of those moments as well. Those are really
that's
fun.
usually where the orchestra ramps up. Very much think like Finding Nemo, when they go down like the slipstream or whatever, and meet the bro turtles, and they're like, "Yo, dog."
Yeah, there's a few of those moments that are really beautiful, but again, it's all about the aesthetics of the game.
Yeah.
One thing that's interesting is there are these in each level. There are these statues that you can meditate on. So what that does is like you kind of sit on it, you interact with it, and then your character sits on it, and then it allows you to just kind of observe a species of fish in the area. Like the camera moves over, and it will show like, I don't know, a snapper or something, and we'll show those guys swimming around in the level. Then you can use the stick, like the left stick, to look at all the different species that are in that level. So, I mean, again, just viewing these things is like at the core of the game.
Right. Yeah, and that was something I thought was kind of neat at first, obviously, right? And it, like, clearly fits in a game like this, but after a few, like, I was just sitting on them in case there was like an achievement at the end.
Right.
There's the sunfish is like one of my favorite fish of all time, like, or probably just is my favorite fish. I think that thing's so cool looking. So like when I got to that area, I was like, oh, I gotta like follow the sunfish around for a little bit.
Like just take a peek at him, like just kind of observe him.
Yeah.
And that's what you do when you meditate. You just watch.
So, but it was weird is I had a really hard time getting to the sunfish. Because, like, when we were meditating, and it would, like, shift to a school of fish, and then it seemed like I had to scroll through every fish in that school before I could, like, and so what I think I ended up finding out is, like, it kind of uses where the camera's pointed at context, so, like, while you're viewing a fish, you can, like, angle the camera wherever you want. So I put, like, a sunfish in the background, and then I think, like, a few fish later I was able to chain over to it, but, like, again, like a super discrete system where like I didn't feel like I had all that much control, and so that was kind of a detractor, right? Is like there was one fish I wanted to see, and I almost gave up because like I couldn't seem to find a way to do that.
Yeah. On a bit of an interesting note, one time while I was while I was meditating, I was looking at some fish, and then I saw in the background
One of the shells.
another little. It wasn't a shell, but it was one of those other things that you can interact with. Where there are these things you can interact with where you like unlock it, and then a new species like kind of flies out into the
Oh,
world.
yeah.
And so while I was meditating, I like saw that in the background, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go over there now." And then I stopped meditating. I went over there and got it. So it can also serve as, I don't know if this was intentional, but it can also serve as like a way to quickly like survey the whole level,
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's like just a good little
which is cool.
a plus because I actually so
Yeah,
there's like collectible shells that you just go and you ping and then you
yeah.
get them, and I'm sure if you get them all there's an achievement or something. But yeah, I was observing a fish one time and like saw into a little hallway that
You're like, oh,
had a shell, so that's certainly neat.
yeah.
Yeah, and
And
then
then I guess, do you want to talk about the story a little bit, or the story that we tried to piece together?
yeah. So uh, as I totally expected from this game, there's no dialogue. I think it's
No words at
it's
all.
all about like having this crazy environment and doing lots of environmental storytelling. Um, so as we mentioned, you're going into like this ethereal plane, and then something else is like you're coming across like these underwater civilizations, almost like these buildings and these big chains and stuff, and there's like almost like Egyptian-esque hieroglyphics on the wall.
It shows like an ancient, race or something.
That looks
These
like
kind of,
you.
yeah. These like humanoid like creatures. Yeah,
And so yeah, you're kind of you're piecing together stuff from the hieroglyphics. Like clearly that was their attempt at like a visual history of kind of this species and stuff. And you see like there's the triangle on the player character's back, and then you also see like later you see like picture hieroglyphics of this character interacting with like or this species like interacting with these big like triangular machine looking things. And then you come into certain areas, and essentially there are these triangular like sea mines. I don't know what the terminology is, but they function very similar to those ones from movies and TV. Those like big spike balls, where if you bump into them, they explode. These are like proximity mines, and so if you swim too close to them, they'll let out this like electricity pulse and stun you. So for me, it was like shaping this narrative of like, okay, I don't know, like I don't think even like the character itself is supposed to know its history. I think it's just like exploring, just like you are. But as it's exploring, it's finding out like, oh, okay, my people are cool with these robot triangles. But then as you're going, you're like, hey, these robot triangles are like fucking me up, and they're fucking up the
like
fish and stuff. Like
they just blow you up.
yeah,
You at one point. I don't know. Do we want to spoil it, or do we want to say the whole? I mean, it's like such a short game that I feel like we shouldn't.
yeah. I think we can just kind of stay to like the high level message. So as you go on, like I think the message is kind of like, where at least what I was able to glean from like what I was able to find was like they flirt with technology a little too much, and it kind of leads to this like corrupted society that's actually endangering like the wildlife around them, right? Something along those lines.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But I really had a hard time like painting a bigger picture than
The
like
details of
evil
this
robots.
story like were totally lost on us. Maybe we're just dumbasses, but
Maybe,
like
definitely.
as I was going, I was kind of trying to fit something together in my head, and I was just like, I don't know.
We're both definitely observant players when we play a game. Like I put it in an hour and a half, but that was with me like really taking the time to like try and explore all the mechanics and glean as much as I could from the hieroglyphics I found. So
and again, and I actually played. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if they were like, I think that they were kind of going for a vague like narrative, like they didn't want it to have like a super
cut and dry, like
yeah,
and
message.
the robots turned evil or something. But
Right. Yeah, I
it
think
wasn't cut and
they
dry.
wanted to leave it a little up for interpretation. Or again, maybe that was just something that they struggled to fit into the schema of the game, like how to really accentuate like the specifics of the story.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I think they really just want you to feel like you're piecing together the puzzle, and whatever you make of it is what you make of it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Totally.
Sorry, you were saying.
I was just gonna say I actually played through most of the game at my parents' house on my sister's PC
Mm-hmm.
because I was over there,
Yeah.
and I made it to, you know, what you might call the like climax of the game or whatever, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. So then I played the entire game again, pretty much.
Oh, really?
Um,
It
yeah,
didn't cloud save or whatever.
but no,
Oh man.
which which was lame. But I mean, I don't know. Then I played it again, and I think it. It was really. I feel like there were a lot of times when I wasn't paying close attention because I was just kind of like going with the flow so much, and it's kind of like shutting my brain off almost. And I was just like, laying there playing this game and just like looking at how pretty it is and stuff. And that's the effect it had on me, is that I wasn't like super engaged with it.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's like an interesting point. Is I think I had more fun moment to moment once I figured out the golden flipper trick,
Yeah,
because I
totally.
felt like that like it does give you more speed, right? But it also kind of
It
makes like
wakes you up. It makes you like it gives you something to engage with moment to moment. It's like
yes,
I need to do the timing of this so that I can explore,
but
which is
also I imagine it
necessary.
wasn't just me, but I would like often queue up the golden flippers, or maybe that would just happen more for me because of the rolling I was doing. But like,
Yeah.
and I would just shoot off like in a direction I didn't want to go. And when the golden flippers
Mhm.
activate, you get a lot of speed, but you lose
Yeah, yeah.
like control. Like you can't like pitch up and down or left and right as easily. So
Yeah.
I kind of learned to get a better sense of how to maneuver that and how to like line myself up so I would shoot in the direction I would want. Um, so like that almost like was a positive for me, was yeah, that I felt, yes, this like doing this combo is more engaging, but also like kind of developing this flow state where I didn't feel as much like I was trudging through the levels and stuff. I felt more like, when those golden flippers kick off, and especially if you like
That's
curve hard
fun.
up or something, like yeah, you like feel like a fish or a dolphin with a lot of control, and that's like
Yeah.
something really cool. So
This kind of reminded me of like a 3D Echo the Dolphin. Just throwing that out there.
okay, I don't think I've played Echo the Dolphin. If I did, it was at your house like
Just with
7
like
years
how it.
ago for like 2
Yeah.
minutes.
Right.
But
Right.
but sorry,
But
go ahead.
just with like how it handles and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I definitely like that was a big thing for me. Is I felt like being able to move around the space like meaningfully isn't probably the right way to describe it, but it felt so much more right when I was like able to move that fast and things like
Yeah.
that. And I think that's why the
Yeah. Totally.
slipstream sections feel really good. But like yeah, it's almost like too slow, and like you see something you want to explore but you're just kind of like trudging your way over to it. Like having
Yeah.
control over that like golden flipper roll and stuff definitely
It's very
made
important.
it
I
feel
agree.
more my speed.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot of these things that, like are kind of a double edged sword, where if you do implement more mechanics and complexity, then like the likelihood of my mom or dad being able to pick it up and play through it do go down. But for someone like us, who play a lot of games, it's like I hate to say it, but like kind of losing our attention a little bit, because like
Yeah.
we're looking for something more of a challenge, and like
Yeah.
even some like just like light puzzles and things like that. Like everything, even the puzzles in this game are pretty straightforward. It's like press X on the
Very.
thing leading to the door, that has a line
Yeah.
drawn
Very
to the door.
straightforward.
So that's certainly like a hard line to draw, and I guess in some ways comes down to opinion. But I don't know. What do you like? Do you think that do you think that this game, there's like a world where this game could have had more complexity without like losing accessibility? Like, do you think there's decisions they could have made that maintained the same, or do you think it's like a sacrifice where if you add more complexity, you have to part with some of the accessibility?
I think they probably struck a nice balance, assuming that it was their goal to make it a really accessible game.
Sure.
But I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean that's just something to think about, right? Is I always, whenever
Yeah,
I'm playing
yeah,
something, I'm like, how could this be better? And
yeah,
like a lot of the times, like it's like stuff where it's easy to say like objective stuff where it's like, dude, ever since Overwatch did this, like clearly this is the right way to set up like this, or a lot of people are saying the new Call of Duty came out and it has this like headquarters thing. And that's like a lobby that you can run around as you're like waiting for your match to start and stuff, and do all sorts of little side activities. And people are already saying like every multiplayer matchmaking should be like this from now on.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
so like those are easy. Like, oh yeah, but with this it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I have like
don't-
this criticism and I have a suggestion on how to fix it, but I do see like negatives emerging from making that
Yeah.
decision because of who this game seems to be aimed at,
Yeah, yeah.
So it's an interesting dichotomy.
I
think
mean, I would be stoked. I would be stoked to see the world of this game like fleshed out, and to have that same control scheme in the same beautiful world, and then it's some like super deep ass like underwater RPG or something. But I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
This is just because I think that'd be tight. But no, this game is about just taking it all in and just swimming around,
See, and that's something funny
Just
because I think
experiencing the world.
about this game like specifically being underwater and stuff. Like, I think if you were to add like more objectives and execution tests and things like that, this game would become frustrating because
You think so?
yeah, because underwater like swimming in almost every game is like notorious for being disliked or hard to control.
Yeah.
And so like if you were really trying to challenge the player and they were having to like swim through rings or something like they did in some of the Spyro games and stuff, like that could definitely be a point of frustration.
Sure.
Where it's like,
But I,
this
mean,
like
I really
swimming,
like.
like I think
But
the
the
swimming
thing is-
feels so good because you have no like rails that you're trying to stick to. Like you can truly
Okay.
swim anywhere.
That may be true, but yeah, I was gonna say like I just feel like they pretty much nailed the controls. But yeah, like you said, that may also be. I mean, I might think that because I didn't have to do anything like super dexterous with the controls,
Right.
and I just got to swim around and have fun. But yeah. Do we have any other thoughts on ABZÜ or ABZÜ?
Gosh, I'm certainly glad I played it. If not to open my eyes more to this kind of dichotomy that we're talking about, where like I don't know, it's been a while. I definitely think I have a sort of a bad habit of like playing games and thinking about them, but then like being like coming up with, in my mind, like objective fixes. Like, oh, they just should have done this. There's no downside. It would have been better. But in this game, there weren't a lot of things that I really felt comfortable making that criticism or that like sort of blind criticism about. And I mean, the good moments in this game are really cool. Like you got to play with good sound, either headphones or surround sound or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you're just like in the mood to just like,
Dank.
and that's the other thing is one thing I noticed is, and this is unfortunate, is that when I was playing, I think I wanted to play a game. And I know that sounds weird, but like, I think that there's like when I want to play a game, that usually means I want to be like challenged in some way.
Yeah.
Whether that's, execution tests, puzzles, or something like that. Whereas this game, like, I feel like if I just wanted to just do nothing, just really relax, like, this game would hit that perfect niche where, like, there's no rush, there's no, like, super hardcore objectives or anything, and like I would really just be taking it in. And that's something I like tried to consciously like acknowledge as I was playing, is like I don't know that I'm in the most right headspace for this, but like I don't think this game is like invalidated or wrong in any way. I will always wonder, and I will always continue to think that there is probably some way through a lot of like testing and stuff that they could have struck a better balance. But I don't know. I really just don't want to step on the developers' toes for who they were trying to reach out to with this game, you know? Yeah. How about you? What did you think? You glad you played it? Glad you played it twice?
Yeah. I mean,
rolling.
I'm pretty much in agreement. Like, I feel like the game wasn't. There were times where I was like, you know, almost half asleep or something when I was playing it, but it was super beautiful to look at, and I just put my new speakers in, and it was also super beautiful to listen to. So, you know, get the version that comes with the soundtrack if this is your thing.
Yeah.
And
man, I'm trying. It's still bothering me. I'm wondering, like,
it's great.
But
yeah, not the most engaging game for me.
Yeah. I don't know. There's got to be. I feel like Journey did a better job. Like I think Journey had this similar level of accessibility.
Journey
with a little more.
From what I remember, there were certain challenges. There were challenges that required you to like maximize the distance of your jump or something. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're thinking of? Like stuff like that? That's really just not here.
Yeah. Probably. I don't know.
Like they have these movement mechanics that are nice, that allow you to navigate the world, but they're never putting you to the test or anything.
Yeah, like in a perfect testing environment, I could just like it's gonna sound weird, but I could just like have my mom play this game until she gets bored. And then when she gets bored, make a note of it, and then put her in a time machine and take her back to when she's never played it before, right? And just like find that level where like she's engaged throughout, and then like also maybe take you, right, or something. I don't know. But like, because I think that, you know, if you're dressing things right, you can probably, like, this game doesn't do a lot of explaining, right? But I think like you could, as long as you took like a slower pace to it, like you started with like easier, like think about, let's go back to like the ring idea where you're like swimming through rings. Yeah. What if it was just like so easy at the beginning? Like for us, that would be at least an objective to do. What if it were just so easy throughout, honestly? But like, you know, like just like we were saying, the simple combo of the golden flippers is fun. Like just having like some rings. And I guess that's kind of what they're getting at with when you're swimming through the slipstreams, you can hit the fish. But there's not like an explicit like.
There's no reward or anything. Yeah. It's just like you get to. I guess the reward is like seeing how they flash. They like glow.
Right. But, which I would have even liked. Like I don't want fucking gold or anything, but like at the end, like some cool flourish where all the fish that I, you know, pinged or whatever, like did some, you know, just like something acknowledging. Because when you're done with the slipstream, it's not like there's nothing being like, wow, you hit a lot of the fish in there. Like, good job. You're just like, okay, it's over. You could have just let go of the controller and still gotten the same outcome. You know, like just like subtle rewards for like just like your flippers turning gold and getting a speed boost is like a very minute version of that.
There is a menu where you can see every place that you meditated and go back and meditate again. Mm-hmm. So I guess that could be considered a reward.
Sure.
It's a small way of accomplishing kind of what you described.
Yeah.
It's saying like, hey, if you meditated throughout the game, then you can go back to that spot now anytime you want and like look at those fish. So that's a small sense of progression, I guess.
Sure. And like the hidden shells, I think were like a good idea, but I didn't feel like I was like I would have loved to have some shells where like it's clear pretty early on that like shells are not progression dependent, right? But like some stuff where it's like requiring you to like do a nice dive out of the water to get it, or like just setting up challenges where you're like, okay, if I want to get the shell, here's what I'm gonna have to do. If I don't even notice the shell or don't want to do it or don't think I can do it, the game goes on.
It's like those green coins in Mario 3D World or whatever. Those extra little challenges.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Totally. Okay. Well, cool. And look, oh man, we're ending on footage of the sunfish. So.
Oh, mama.
Brilliant. Yeah. Coolest. Oh yeah, and of course I'm riding the sunfish like a fucking badass. So yeah, that's pretty much it for ABZÜ. Again, glad I played it. I think this is probably one of the first games that we've done on the podcast where I didn't feel super positively strong about. I don't know. It's hard to word, right? But I wasn't I personally wasn't super jazzed on it, but I still think I'm it's generated some cool discussion. So I'm glad we checked it out.
Yeah.
All right. So let's jump right ahead then into our news story for the week. Yeah.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. So this week we're going to talk about the Game Awards and Zelda being winning the Game of the Year. So I believe this is the third consecutive year of the Game Awards.
I don't know.
I want to say so. I think this is the third iteration. Excuse my ignorance if not. But it's kind of a new thing, but it's clearly trying to set itself as the standard or the Grammy or the Emmys of video games, which is cool. I think it's cool to have something like that. I mean, obviously, I think having stuff like Indiecade and stuff is super great too, because that lets games that probably would never see the light of day, or a lot of games that wouldn't see the light of day at something like this, get their recognition they deserve. Yeah. But it's also cool to have something for the big production. Yeah. So Zelda took Game of the Year over the likes of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Mario, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Do you think? How do you feel?
The only two games that I've played on that list are Zelda and Mario. But I think Zelda is a pretty freaking good pick.
Okay. Yeah. So
can't argue with that.
Would that be your Game of the Year pick? What's your personal?
I haven't even finished Mario yet, but based on so far, I think I would pick Zelda. Yeah.
You'd pick Zelda over Mario?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting. I was actually talking with my coworker about this whole thing the other day, and he was super strong on the opinion that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds should have won Game of the Year, which already saw some controversy, and they openly acknowledge it as they're doing the awards that, yes, this game isn't released yet, and we're putting it up for awards and stuff, but the landscape is shifting, and
I mean, yeah, if there was any, would it make sense to give PUBG Game of the Year next year? No, because that was this year's game.
Totally. So
so many people played it this year.
So it's interesting because he said it 100% should have been PUBG, and I said the last game on that list it should have been is PUBG, which is interesting because I think it really came down to a difference in the very objective idea of what Game of the Year means, right? For me, I think PUBG deserves to win every award encompassing something along the lines of most influential, most impactful, anything like that. But for me, a part of being the Game of the Year is being a polished, tight experience. And I think that, that is obviously not PUBG's strong suit. You can't tell when someone's, I haven't even played it. You can't tell when someone's ready to. You can't tell when someone in your party is readied up. Constant server issues, crashes, and again, that's not at the fault of the game. It's in early access, but and again, this is just by my definition of Game of the Year. That doesn't resonate. Whereas Zelda is a more sensible pick for me.
Yeah.
But on a personal level, it's got to be Mario, because we just had our podcast last week on Zelda. You can check that out if you're just tuning in. But obviously, you know, we both found some faults and flaws in Zelda, and I definitely found a few in Mario, but like Mario just felt fucking so core. Like how I described it to my coworker was like the Mario innovated the most within it, or innovated within itself very well. Zelda innovated beyond itself genre very well, right? Zelda innovated into the open world space, and then Battlegrounds innovated like the entire battle royale genre, like almost single-handedly, like, you know, put it on the map, right? Which is huge. But for me, Mario's innovation was really great. Like, I enjoyed it a lot, but also I think probably the fact that they were sticking a little closer to their guns meant that experience is like just so polished and refined,
just airtight
through and throughout. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, as I've been playing Mario, I've just been like, there just is not a single like dull moment.
No, and just the movement, dude.
It's like like, I don't even
like they give you the option to fast travel.
So,
but like I just don't fast travel 90% of the time because I would rather just do some sick parkour to get everywhere.
It's just so like pure, just fun.
Yeah.
It's just like they just chipped away everything and just found this nugget of just pure joy. So no, I feel that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like, I guess for me, it's like with Zelda, it's like the sheer scope of it, and just the fact that it is just reinvigorating like open world RPGs.
Right, and a case for Zelda is that between the polar opposite spectrums of my and my coworkers' concept of game of the year, pretty much is Zelda, right? Like, Zelda innovated, made a huge splash, made a lot of people rethink, you know, the laziness that they've come to find in open worlds. And is like a really pretty polished, tight experience. Whereas, like, you know, on one end of the spectrum is PUBG, this super innovative, super groundbreaking, but really buggy, and then on the other end is like less innovative, but like super distilled, like
distilled fun. Just Mario
fun.
Oh my god, yeah, it's just like there's not even another word for it. Like when I started playing that, I was at the courthouse all day for jury duty, and I was just playing Mario for 6 hours, just like, wow, this is awesome. Like for 6 hours, you know.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyway, yeah, no, I think I would pick Zelda, but again, I haven't finished Mario. I got to jump back into it, so.
All right, well, Sam just disagreed with me, so this will be the last Splatt show. I hope everyone enjoyed what happened so far, but yeah, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, it's weird how you can just go from being, you know, best friends to just worse fucking enemies, you know. But yeah, it's been good.
All right, let's real quick also run over. Ooh, that sounds cool. We're gonna fucking run over some shit. We're gonna run over some of the announcements that got made at the Game Awards.
All right, rapid fire, baby, rapid fire.
Place to drop a trailer. Here we go. Fortnite 50 versus 50 mode, battle royale.
What is that? Oh,
okay. So Fortnite made like PUBG mode for Fortnite. They are now releasing. You know, it's 100 free for all is the typical Battlegrounds Fortnite format. They're doing 50 versus 50. So like two teams duking it out. So they said that's
that's a PUBG thing.
No, Fortnite.
What is Fortnite? Is that a game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sick.
Welcome to the Splatt Show, where we talk about games, you know, like really popular ones like Fortnite.
Yeah. I know what's going on.
Yeah. So Fortnite is like it started as like a I'm gonna butcher this, tower defense-y base building shooter, third person shooter thing. And they basically just kind of released a essentially battle royale mode And
Okay.
the battle
They're trying to
royale
get a
mode
slice of
is
that pie.
yeah, a battle royale mode is free, whereas like
Okay.
the battle royale mode
I need to
is
get on one of these. I need to get on PUBG, dude. I'm so late to that. And
well, Fortnite's free, so you could try that out, at no cost to
okay,
your wallet,
see and then
and also learn what
see
the
how
hell
I
it is.
feel about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
but
right.
so Fortnite's, I guess, core difference is that, or one of its core differences is that it has like the base building elements still exist in the battle royale. So like you're able to like construct walls and ramps and stuff. So like
Okay,
combat also has like destructible structures being built and stuff.
okay, okay.
So the trailer looked really cool. Obviously, they like orchestrated the coolest scenarios. But and they said they're going to run the 50-50 as a limited release thing. But I'm interested, and I'm sure they're interested. I think they just want to see how that dynamic pans out. Because
Sure.
think about that, man. Think about like it's got to be really hard like to internally test something like that. Like, hey
Yeah.
guys, we're going to get a
Yeah.
quick 50
50,
versus 50 together. Like.
Yeah. And having made Featherweight, which was a game that was sort of like designed for like huge volumes of players, like yeah, we never
Got to test
I mean,
with the volume
yeah,
that you wanted.
this was an oversight, like, but yeah, we like pretty much never got to do that. So anyway,
Even Shackle, just getting two people to test and two new people to test and stuff was tricky. But yeah, I can only imagine needing like 100 people.
yeah, we just never did it.
So
So,
for Fortnite,
when we-
obviously the best strategy is to just throw it out there. I'm sure it didn't need a ton of tuning. They just, and if
Yeah.
it does need tuning, they'll find it through this, and they'll just be like, hey, it was limited release. We'll bring it back and make it better.
Yeah.
So again, in the battle royale realm, new PUBG map. It's like a desert. Yeah, it was a cool trailer. Kind of cinematic. Made the game look. I don't think that game's visuals are all that amazing, but
Yeah.
it looked like they did like some bloom effects and motion blur and stuff that kind of made it look a little cooler.
Okay.
Yeah, so new map for PUBG. I don't know a ton more beyond that, but it's in the desert and stuff, so that should be cool. I know they're coming up on release, like official release here soon, so interesting to see. I'll have to revisit it and see how much it's changed because I've kind of been on a hiatus from that. A Way Out is a new game from the creator of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Right, the prison game.
Yeah, so this game is cooperative, and it's two guys trying to escape prison together. And unlike Brother: A Tale of Two Sons, one player controls both the brothers, but in this you actually are playing with another person. And I don't even think there's a single player option, which obviously, as someone who made Shackle, which had no single player option, I love cooperation in games and stuff. So very excited for that. Very excited for the fact that I don't know why they're calling it a trial, but A Way Out is essentially going to be buy one get one free. So when you buy a copy, you get a copy to give to a friend, which is amazing. So you can either split the cost on that game. Yeah, so we will definitely be.
We'll be playing that on Hayden's dime, if I'm not mistaken. Prison Break the game.
Yeah. A Way Out. So we'll definitely be checking that out later this year or later next year when it releases. So stay tuned for that. I'm super excited. From Software, developers of Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne and all that, released a essentially 5-second video of a bloody rope being wound up.
Oh yeah.
So I think that means that they're going to partner with Sonic and make like a Sonic Dark Souls game.
Very excited as a huge Sonic fan and a huge Demon Souls fan. Yeah,
There you go.
That's what we need.
Yeah, I think that's just enough for some people though. Just From Software people are junkies, man. They love that stuff. So just knowing that they're working on something, I'm sure is great for them. Vacation Simulator, Job Simulator came out, was a big VR splash. Alchemy Labs, I believe, did
that game was fun as hell, dude.
So
just the act of, I just felt like I was in an office, but I could just like throw my cup across the office and hit some,
wait, you don't do that every day at work?
throw it at the wall. No, dude, it just allowed me to exercise those demons,
Those demons, hell yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so I actually haven't played Job Simulator, but seems like people are excited for this. Pretty hot on it. New Campo Santo game creators of Firewatch, in the Valley of the Gods. And man, I gotta say, I am always wary of sophomore slumps, and I very much feel like Campo Santo and Firewatch is like kind of a prime suspect for that, because like in a lot of ways I think Firewatch garnered a lot of attention for its art style and stuff, and I think the reception was like pretty positive, but it had like some people criticizing the length of the game and probably some of this accessibility debate that we've been having. But dude, the trailer is so good. Like I can't even explicitly tell you why. I think I really like the song choice they chose and the cuts they did, but like it's one of those trailers where I can't really tell you what the game's about, but like it gets me excited. Like the visuals look really cool. It's like they're like exploring Egyptian tombs and stuff. Very cool. Another Zelda DLC coming out. It's got a motorcycle. I'm
going to buy that.
I don't think I need to say anything more. It looks like the motorcycle will essentially act as like a Skyrim horse, where you can use it to just like trudge up super steep mountains and stuff. From what like short clips I saw, I'm like, he's taking that up a steep cliff. So I think that's cool too, because right, like people have spent a lot of time in the Breath of the Wild map, and now you have like a way to really quickly fart around it.
I'm gonna buy that.
Becomes nicer.
It's and it finally makes Link's motorcycle from Mario Kart like canon.
Yeah, I don't know if they chose the same like model.
Now they can just explain it. They can be like, yeah, Link.
But yeah,
he rides motorcycles.
That's why I gave Mario Kart 8 a -5 on my super exclusive review site. I was like, the Link motorcycle just doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
Come on. So yeah, I'll have to go change that to like a 5.68 out of 6. Anyways, Zelda motorcycle DLC, and then of course Kojima loves showing off stuff at the Game Awards. And this year he returned with an 8-minute Death Stranding trailer, which I still don't know if
Kojima wants to be a film director. He just wants to be a film director.
But dude,
he always has.
I gotta say, man, I don't know what Death Stranding is dishing out, but whatever it is, I like it. It's just so weird. I love it. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I've always loved that brand of weirdness that comes with Metal Gear Solid games, where it's like, Metal Gear Solid at least is like sort of grounded in like a reality, like military background, but there's always like, I love that they just like put little layers of like,
that's what makes it so appealing,
crap on it. And this just feels like Kojima just put his foot on the floor, but it's just cool. I don't know. Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen are like two of the main characters in the game, and there's like article headlines of both of them saying like, Norman Reedus doesn't know what Death Stranding's about, and Mads Mikkelsen isn't quite sure what Death Stranding's about. So, just give me a jolly good time. We'll see if that means that the people developing the game know what's going on. I honestly would not be that surprised if they have not even started making gameplay yet. It seems like they're just really into the trailers, the cinematics. That's pretty much it. Game Awards. If you didn't check it out, there's some articles online doing recaps and stuff. You can check out all the trailers and things like that. So last but not least, let's round it out with a little bit of random word generation for games by association. All right. So get the generator going. Let's see. This week's word is champagne.
It's champagne?
Yep.
Glover.
Oh man, yeah, we've managed to pull some pretty weird words back into the realm of games.
Champagne.
I'm trying. Okay, what I'm thinking is like, is there like a WarioWare game
I've got
where you're
it.
popping champagne?
Oh yeah. I think there's a micro game where you pop champagne. I don't know which one it is. Oh, I think it's the Wii one, because you have to hold the remote and then I don't know.
Shake it.
Maybe.
Get it? Nothing.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Anyways, so WarioWare maybe. At the end of racing, Normally they like pop a bottle of champagne. So maybe if you play like a NASCAR
Yeah.
game or something, there'd be like some champagne at the end.
I was thinking I was thinking Braid, the game Braid, and the reason why is not because it has anything to do with champagne, but because there's a band called Braid from Champaign, Illinois.
Okay.
So
This is how games by association works, dude. It's the fucking Wild West.
Braid. The game is Braid.
Okay. This brings me to my next inquiry. Here's a question: have we ever gotten bunted off champagne playing a game together?
I want to say yes.
I can't think of an explicit time. I mean, we've definitely had our fair share of champagne adventures before, but
I feel like we had to have done that at some point. But yeah, I don't know.
So if we can't remember, all I'm saying is maybe this is prime territory for an exclusive Splatt Show stream.
Yeah.
We'll first look on something and pair it with some, and by some I mean a lot of some mimosas.
We can bust out the N64, bust out Glover.
I've never played Glover, so that would be a new experience for me.
Yeah, maybe let's not do Glover.
All right. Well, we're not going to do Glover. We'll do something else. Expect it in the year 2020, probably. We'll remember and get around to it. But anyways, that's about it. That's all I can think of when it comes to champagne. So, any other last champagne thoughts you want to sneak in there?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks all for listening to episode 11 of the Splatt Show. Again, we're trying to get back more on a regular schedule now that we're over the Breath of the Wild debacle's not the right word. Long journey. So
the next game we'll be covering is the Breath of the Wild DLC.
That's true. That's just not true.
You can expect that in about 2 hours.
Cool.
We're just gonna plow through it.
Cool. So yeah, maybe we'll do some impressions on it at some point if I buy it. But anyways, thanks again for listening as always. Hope you enjoyed the new overlays and everything. Feedback on that, feedback on the show in general, games you'd like to see us test out, questions you have for us. What's our favorite cereal?
Cap'n Crunch. Don't ask that question.
Okay. See, now they don't have to email in anymore. We have to withhold the information. Okay, well, you can't find out mine.
No, I lied. It's not Cap'n Crunch.
Until you email in. Anyways, yeah, or as always, if you just want to email us like a picture of a cool dog, that's cool with us too. So that's the splatshow@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter, tweet at us there. Yeah, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
We love you.